Thanks for the welcome. Thanks for the introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here. And here is my TED Talk. In 1963, exactly 50 years ago, zip codes were introduced by the United States Postal Service. Also in 1963, the first communications satellite was put into orbit. In 1966, the first fax machine was invented. Skipping ahead, in 1994, the US government released control of the internet, making it widely available to the public. Today, 34% of the world's population has access to the internet. That's approximately 2.5 billion people. Also today, at least 80% of the world's population has had some sort of cell phone subscription. By 2020, the National Science Foundation predicts that the internet will have nearly 5 billion users. It's obvious where the world is going. In 1963, people couldn't even fax a piece of paper to someone else. That technology didn't exist. International telephone calls were of extreme poor quality prior to fiber optics and prohibitively expensive. Information traveled slowly, and there were no direct communication lines between regular people in different countries. Fast forward to today. If I want to talk to my friend Jean-Pierre, who actually lives in South Africa with such a name, I need only to call him on Skype. I will be able to see him and talk to him in real time. And the best part is, it's free. Fast forward 10 more years. What will that look like? One thing I know is that the world will be much more connected. So what does that mean for the church? What does that mean for our worship services? It means that if I, as a music minister, want to learn a song from France or South Africa, I can Skype my friend in France or South Africa and have him teach it to me live, all while sitting in my chair in my office. It means that if I want to see how people worship in Indonesia, I can just Facebook my friend Budi Taniwan, who lives in Indonesia, and ask him to video the service, and he can immediately upload it to me, and I can watch it that afternoon after my own. This is huge. Worldwide access to the internet is breaking down barriers, which has kept the local church isolated from each other since it began spreading from the Middle East 2,000 years ago. The church in Corinth couldn't communicate with the church in Rome without extensive time, or a lot of time in between. The church in India 50 years ago had no direct communication line with the church in the United States. The stubborn remnants of 19th century colonialism are being swept away and replaced with an equal exchange of information between churches all around the world. The First World Western Church is no longer responsible for pushing information around the world. We live in an exciting time. The church, as it has been for a while, is all around the world. And now, we have the means to instantly communicate with our sisters and brothers to find out how God is working with them and through them. It's just never happened before. It's something to celebrate. But how is it showing up in our worship? I serve a congregation in North Dallas called Arapahoe United Methodist Church. When I first got there a year and a half ago, the worship was what I expected it to be. It followed the order of worship in the United Methodist hymnal. They sang out of that hymnal with an emphasis on the great hymns of the faith. as well as 19th, 20th century gospel hymns. The spirit of this particular congregation, however, was quite different than many other churches I had experienced. They market themselves on being different. They flaunt that they are biblically progressive and welcoming. And they are indeed open and affirming to the gay and lesbian community. They also pride themselves on being mission-oriented. So what I've tried to do over the last year and a half is to move the music and worship to a place which I thought better represents who this congregation says they are. If they are to be truly welcoming, especially in a place like Dallas, which is very diverse, shouldn't the music they sing represent a wide variety of cultures and life experiences? Let me take a sidebar. Today, we regularly sing songs a cappella at Arapahoe. I think singing a cappella gives the congregation a huge challenge. It says, sing, or else nothing else will happen. And indeed, the people will sing. They were tentative at first, even skeptical. But from my 1.5 years there, one of the most touching moments didn't come from the organ or the piano or a band or the orchestra, but from an a cappella selection we sang during the offertory time. One could even argue that a cappella singing is the most hospitable form of congregational song because it eliminates any squabbling about instrumentation. There is no organ, there is no guitar, there are no drums, just the human voice. It levels the playing field. Sidebar done. We sing songs at Arapahoe from Africa, Asia, Latin America, while also still maintaining their tradition of singing hymns like Leaning on the Everlasting Arms and Abide With Me. While not always succeeding and not always getting lots of praise, the general consensus in the congregation is that they are indeed enjoying the diversity. They've begun to realize that to be truly inclusive, they have to sing inclusively. They're enjoying themselves, and they're becoming a better singing congregation. That is one of the reasons why I do a wide variety of music with my congregation. It challenges them and it helps them build their singing skills together in many different styles. Singing a wide variety of styles helps my congregation embody the inclusiveness that they say they cherish. Another reason why I do a variety of music with my congregation is because when I look out into the crowd on a Sunday morning, I recognize that they are all unique and represent a wide variety of backgrounds. Now keep in mind, my church is mostly Anglo middle class. Okay, so it's not visually apparent that they are diverse, but I guarantee you that they, as you know, they all have completely unique life experiences. Where are they originally from? How many languages can they speak? How many of my congregation members are in, or will be within the next decade, direct communication with someone in the third world? Keep in mind that 5 billion users of the internet. Will they be able to say that their congregation is one that shares in their friends' song and praise for them? Let me share a glimpse of the future that I just experienced. I was watching a TED Talk. Eric Whitaker is a musical genius and an innovator in the choral field. Recently, during his TED Talk, he did a live choral performance using people on live video stream from 30 different countries. His composition was sung by hundreds of performers on a stage. Halfway through the piece, giant screens lit up with the faces of people from all around the world who joined in the singing in real time. This has never happened before. My congregation tomorrow, actually, is sending a group to do a mission trip to El Salvador. What if my congregation got to share in a live worship service with that sister congregation in El Salvador using that same technology? Would Arapahoe United Methodist Church be ready for that musically or liturgically? Would your church be ready for that? I don't know. But it's time to start rehearsing. Now, there are a million different songs to choose from many different styles and cultures. Don't get overwhelmed. Find one or two songs that you think would fit well into your context and teach them to your congregation. You don't have to be Pavarotti to be able to sing in front of a group of people. All it takes is showing enthusiasm for the song, teaching the story behind it so that your congregation understands where it's coming from, and a brave voice to lead. The congregation will follow. As you talk about world song, cyclical and sequential forms, I'm here to tell you that if both of those forms aren't already present in your lives in worship, they will be soon. The world will be sharing its song with us one way or another. The church, and specifically the church in America, you and me, can either be leaders or followers in the quest to fully connect our congregations with Christians around the world. If we don't start sharing each other's songs now, somebody else will. We must lead the way. Let's start rehearsing for 2020, when the world will be connected in unimaginable ways.